The alien students from Zephyra stepped off their sleek spacecraft, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. As they set foot on Earth for the first time, the air was thick with unfamiliar scents, and the sounds of bustling life surrounded them. They gazed in awe at the blue sky, dotted with fluffy clouds, and the vibrant green trees that lined the landing area. Their human hosts greeted them with open arms, a diverse group of adults and children who were eager to share their world. The leader of the human delegation, a spirited woman named Dr. Emily Lang, introduced herself and her family. With a broad smile, she explained that they would be living with their families for the duration of the program, immersing themselves in human culture and learning about Earth's creatures. As they walked toward a large park nearby, the alien students couldn't help but marvel at the bright colors of flowers and the way sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating a dazzling display on the ground beneath them. Each step felt like an adventure in this strange new world. Dr. Lang pointed out various animals they passed by. A curious squirrel darted across their path, pausing for a moment to regard the newcomers before scampering up a tree. Its quick movements made the Zephyrians jump back in surprise. The students had never seen such agility. They whispered excitedly among themselves, trying to comprehend the animal's behavior. Once they reached the park, the human families began to introduce their pets. The students were introduced to a golden retriever named Max, who bounded towards them with a wagging tail and a goofy grin. Lyra, one of the students, stepped forward, her eyes wide with fascination. She had read about dogs, but seeing one up close was a different experience altogether. Max jumped around excitedly, greeting everyone with sloppy kisses and playful barks. The students erupted into laughter as they watched him chase after a flying frisbee tossed by a child. His joy was infectious, and soon the aliens found themselves warming up to the creature. They began to mimic his movements, and laughter echoed in the air. As they interacted with Max, the students quickly learned about the dog's remarkable loyalty. They noticed how he constantly kept an eye on the children, making sure they were safe, while still managing to have fun. Lyra could hardly contain her excitement and started taking notes on Max's behavior, intrigued by his dual nature of playfulness and protectiveness. Their laughter and fun took a sudden turn when a squirrel appeared in the distance, darting across the grass. Max's instincts kicked in as he spotted the small creature. The once joyful dog transformed into a focused predator. His body tensed, and he sprinted after the squirrel. The students gasped in astonishment. They had never seen such a rapid change in demeanor before. Lyra watched with rapt attention, taking mental notes of the shift in Max's behavior. It was as if the friendly dog had vanished, replaced by a wild creature driven by instinct. The chase was brief. The squirrel quickly scampered up a tree, leaving Max barking in frustration at the base. It was a moment of revelation for the Zephyrian students. They began to realize that beneath the surface of these domesticated animals lay the wild instincts of their ancestors. This complex relationship between humans and animals sparked a deep curiosity within the group. They had come to Earth expecting to study its creatures from a safe distance, but now they found themselves drawn into the intricacies of a world where the tame and the wild coexisted in an extraordinary dance of life. The students exchanged eager glances filled with excitement and anticipation for what they would discover next in this vibrant yet unpredictable world. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the park, the alien students gathered around Dr. Lang, eager to learn more about the fascinating creatures they had encountered. The human families formed a circle around them, children giggling while their pets played nearby. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and curiosity. Dr. Lang began to explain the concept of domestication, how humans had bred certain animals for specific traits and companionship. She gestured toward Max, who was now rolling on the grass, playfully with a child. The students watched intently, absorbing every word. It was a profound revelation for them to understand that these animals were not just companions but products of generations of selective breeding. One of the Zephyrian students named Callan raised his hand, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. He asked how humans had managed to coexist with such wild instincts. The question hung in the air, prompting a thoughtful silence among the group. Dr. Lang smiled and shared stories of human history, how people had formed bonds with animals over millennia, learning to trust and communicate with them. The students listened raptly as she recounted tales of heroic dogs who had saved lives and brave cats who had protected their homes. They were amazed to learn that even the smallest creature could make a significant impact on human lives. The stories painted vivid pictures in their minds, transforming the pets from simple companions to complex beings with rich histories. Intrigued by the idea of companionship, the students turned their attention to the other animals in the park. They spotted a fluffy gray cat lounging in a sunbeam, completely oblivious to the chaos around it. The cat stretched languidly before settling down again. A couple of students approached cautiously, eyes wide with fascination. Lyra knelt down, extending a hand toward the cat, softly calling to it with a gentle voice. The cat regarded her with lazy curiosity before finally allowing her to pet its soft fur. The Zephyrians marveled at the creature's elegance and grace. They couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between the cat's seemingly serene demeanor and its potential for ferocity should it be threatened. Meanwhile, another group of students observed a family of ducks waddling nearby. They were drawn to the way the mother duck quacked and led her ducklings across the grass. Their movements were coordinated and purposeful. The students noted how the mother was constantly vigilant, scanning the area for potential threats. The sight ignited a lively discussion among the group about the protective nature of parenthood in all species. Suddenly, a loud noise broke their concentration. A skateboarder zoomed past, causing the ducks to scatter in a flurry of feathers and quacks. The students gasped, witnessing the chaos that ensued. The mother duck quickly gathered her ducklings in a tight formation, leading them away from danger. It was a startling reminder of the harsh realities of life on Earth, even for its most innocent creatures. The students exchanged worried glances as they processed the scene. They had come to appreciate the beauty of Earth's wildlife, but now they were faced with the stark reality that danger was always lurking. They began to understand that the creatures they found so adorable were also part of a relentless struggle for survival. With their minds racing, the alien students continued to observe the world around them. Eager to learn more about the duality of Earth's creatures, they realized that every interaction, every story had layers of complexity. They were ready to dive deeper into this vibrant ecosystem, filled with wonders and dangers waiting to be uncovered. The following day, the alien students embarked on a field trip to a nearby nature reserve. Their excitement was palpable as they boarded a transport vehicle provided by their human hosts. The students eagerly exchanged thoughts on what creatures they might encounter and what lessons awaited them in the wild. As they arrived at the reserve, the students were greeted by the sights and sounds of nature. The air was filled with the rustling of leaves and the calls of various birds. The humans led them along a winding path through dense trees and vibrant undergrowth, each step revealing new wonders hidden within the greenery. Dr. Lang encouraged the students to use their advanced observation skills to document the behaviors of the animals they encountered. They began spotting different species: squirrels darting up trees, butterflies flitting from flower to flower, and a group of deer grazing peacefully in a clearing. The students took meticulous notes, marveling at the intricate details of each creature's movement and interactions. As they approached a pond, the students were captivated by a family of frogs leaping gracefully from lily pad to lily pad. Lyra pointed out the way the frogs seemed to communicate through a series of croaks and ribbits. The group began to mimic the sounds, playfully echoing the frogs' calls and laughing at their own attempts. It was a joyous moment of connection between the alien students and the creatures of Earth. Suddenly, a loud splash interrupted their laughter as a large heron swooped down from the sky, its sharp beak piercing the water to catch a fish. The students gasped collectively at the raw display of nature's brutal beauty. They were transfixed by the heron's precise movements, its elegance and predatory instinct. Starkly contrasted with the playful frogs, they realized that survival often came at the expense of another's life. Callan, who had been quietly observing, took the opportunity to voice his thoughts. He spoke about the complexity of predator and prey relationships, highlighting the necessity of balance within ecosystems. His insights prompted a lively discussion among the group as they pondered the lessons nature could teach them about cooperation and competition. As they ventured deeper into the reserve, the group stumbled upon a den of foxes hidden beneath a thicket. The kits tumbled playfully around, while their mother kept a watchful eye from the entrance. The students were enchanted by the sight and gathered closer to observe their antics. They were amazed at how the kids practiced their hunting skills, play-fighting, and chasing each other in a playful display of energy. One of the students, named Tyra, noticed how the mother fox displayed a mix of tenderness and authority. She would intervene when the kids became too rough, reminding them of their boundaries. It was a perfect representation of nurturing instincts that resonated with the students. They began to draw parallels between the fox family dynamics and their own relationships back on Sci-Fi. As the day continued, the sun began to dip low, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The group found themselves sitting in a clearing, reflecting on the experiences they had encountered. They shared their observations, drawing connections between the creatures and the themes of survival instinct, cooperation, and the beauty of nature. Lyra suggested they create a presentation for their human hosts showcasing their newfound understanding of Earth's creatures. They discussed various creatures they encountered, the delicate balance of ecosystems, and the lessons they learned about both the tame and the wild. They realized that their time on Earth was not just about observation, but also about forming connections and understanding the deeper intricacies of life. With their minds brimming with insights and experiences, the students felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were eager to share what they had learned and to continue exploring the wonders of this unpredictable and mesmerizing planet. The next day, excitement buzzed through the group as they prepared for their visit to a local animal shelter. Their human hosts explained that this facility was dedicated to rescuing abandoned and abused animals, offering them a second chance at life. The students were intrigued, eager to witness how humans cared for these creatures and what role compassion played in their society. Upon arrival at the shelter, the students were greeted by the sounds of barking and mewing. The air was filled with a mix of hope and sadness. As they stepped inside, they were met with bright murals on the walls depicting happy pets and their stories. The vibrant colors contrasted sharply with the somber reality of the animals in need of homes. Derlang introduced the students to the shelter director, a kind-hearted woman named Maria, who shared the shelter's mission with passion. She explained how every day they work tirelessly to rescue animals from dire situations, rehabilitate them, and find loving families for them. The students listened intently, absorbing the weight of her words and the responsibility that came with caring for another life. As they toured the facility, the students encountered various animals, each with its own story. They met a timid dog named Bella, who had been rescued from an abusive situation. Bella cowered in the corner of her kennel, her eyes filled with apprehension. Lyra stepped closer, gently speaking to her in soothing tones. The connection between them was instant. Bella began to relax, her tail slowly wagging. The students marveled at the transformative power of kindness and trust. Next, they visited a room filled with cats. The students were immediately drawn to a playful tabby named Gizmo, who pounced on a toy mouse with uncontainable enthusiasm. They laughed as he tumbled and rolled around, showing off his playful spirit. The students began to understand that even in captivity, these animals had the capacity for joy and companionship despite their pasts. Maria explained the importance of socialization for the animals as they prepared for adoption. She encouraged the students to interact with the animals, helping them practice their social skills. The Zephyrian students eagerly engaged with each creature. They discovered how a simple touch or a gentle voice could bring a sense of comfort to the frightened animals. As they moved from kennel to kennel, the students began to notice the varying degrees of fear and trust among the animals. Some were exuberant and eager for attention, while others remained hidden and withdrawn. It was a poignant reminder that every creature carried its own experiences and traumas shaping its behavior. During a break, the students gathered in a small outdoor area to reflect on their experiences. Callan shared his thoughts on the concept of rehabilitation. He spoke about the parallels between the animals' journeys and their own transformation during their time on Earth. He emphasized that just as the animals needed understanding and patience, so did humans when faced with challenges. The group nodded in agreement, recognizing that empathy was a fundamental part of life. They discussed how each animal they met had its own story and how it was their responsibility to advocate for those who could not speak for themselves. The conversation flowed naturally as they bonded over shared insights and reflections. As the day came to a close, the students helped organize a small adoption event for the shelter. They watched as families arrived, eager to meet their potential new companions. The atmosphere was filled with excitement and hope as they witnessed the transformative power of love and connection in action. Seeing the joy on the faces of the new pet owners reinforced the students' understanding of the impact one individual can have on another's life. It was a moment of clarity for them, realizing that Earth was a place where compassion thrived and where every creature deserved a chance to be loved and cherished. The following week, the alien students gathered again in the park, eager to delve deeper into their exploration of Earth's creatures. Inspired by their visit to the shelter, they decided to focus on the theme of survival. This time, they would investigate the behaviors of various wildlife in their natural habitats and the strategies they employed to thrive. With Dear Lang leading the way, the group set out on a new adventure, this time venturing into a nearby forest that served as a sanctuary for local wildlife. The students felt a sense of anticipation as they entered the wooded area. The towering trees and rustling leaves created a serene backdrop for their observations. As they walked deeper into the forest, they were reminded of the intricate web of life that surrounded them. Every sound, every movement seemed significant. Lyra spotted a family of wild rabbits foraging for food. She quickly motioned for the group to quiet down as they crouched behind a bush, watching the rabbits nibble on clover and dandelions. Their delicate movements spoke of caution and instinct. Callan pointed out the way the rabbits constantly scanned their surroundings, their ears perked up at the slightest sound. It was a perfect demonstration of how even the smallest creatures understood the importance of vigilance. In the wild, the students felt a rush of excitement as they took notes, eager to capture the lessons unfolding before them. Further along the trail, they stumbled upon a small stream. The gurgling water drew their attention as they observed fish darting in and out of the shadows. The students marveled at how these creatures navigated their watery world with precision. They discussed the importance of adaptability and camouflage in ensuring survival in the face of predators. Suddenly, a loud rustling in the bushes caught their attention. The group turned to see a majestic hawk soaring above the treetops, its sharp eyes scanning the ground for prey. They watched in awe as the hawk swooped down, capturing a mouse in its talons. The students gasped collectively. The scene was both breathtaking and brutal, a stark reminder of the realities of life in the wild. Tyra shared her thoughts on the hawk's role as a predator, emphasizing how every creature had its place in the ecosystem. The students began to draw connections between the delicate balance of predator and prey and the lessons they had learned about empathy and compassion. They realized that survival was not merely about individual strength, but also about understanding and respecting the interconnectedness of life. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow through the trees, the students decided to set up a small campfire to reflect on their day. They gathered in a circle, sharing their thoughts and insights. Each student took turns recounting their favorite moments and what they had learned from the animals they observed. Lyra expressed how witnessing the hawk's hunting skills had shifted her perspective. She realized that while it was easy to view nature through a lens of beauty, there was also a harsh reality that required respect and understanding. Callan added that the cycle of life was a fundamental aspect of existence, whether on Earth or Zephyra. With the crackling fire providing warmth and light, the students felt a sense of camaraderie. They began discussing their plans for their final presentation to the human families, how they would share the knowledge they had gained about the complexities of Earth's creatures and the profound lessons about survival, compassion, and the ties that bind all living beings. As night fell and stars began to twinkle in the sky, the students felt a deep connection to each other and the world around them. They realized that their journey was not just about observing, but about understanding the deeper truths of life and the shared experiences that transcended species. Their adventure on Earth had transformed into a journey of discovery and growth. They would carry these lessons with them long after their time on this vibrant planet had come to an end. As the days rolled by, the alien students found themselves increasingly enamored with Earth and its intricate tapestry of life. Their observations had ignited a profound curiosity about the animals they had studied and the behaviors they exhibited. Eager to share their newfound knowledge, the students set to work preparing for their final presentation to the human families. They met regularly in the park, organizing their findings, brainstorming creative ways to convey their experiences. Each student took on a specific role. Lyra focused on documenting the social behaviors of pets, while Callan examined the survival strategies of wild animals. Tyra was tasked with drawing parallels between the creatures and the lessons they had learned about empathy and connection. In their meetings, they shared stories of their encounters with various animals, the playful antics of the cats at the shelter, the solemn dignity of the deer in the forest, and the fierce elegance of the hawk soaring through the skies. The students discussed how each animal held a unique story, illustrating the complex interplay of instincts and emotions that defined life on Earth. One afternoon, while gathered around a picnic table, the students decided to create an interactive element for their presentation. They envisioned a series of demonstrations that would allow the human families to experience the lessons they had learned firsthand. They wanted to show how understanding animal behavior could foster deeper connections between humans and their pets. Inspired by their conversations, they developed a plan for a creature connection event where they would invite the human families to participate in activities that mirrored the interactions they had observed. They decided to include games that showcased the instincts of various animals, such as a modified version of Fetch that highlighted a dog's retrieving abilities, and an obstacle course designed to mimic the agility of a cat. With their plan in place, the students excitedly spread the word among the human families, who responded with enthusiasm and curiosity as the event approached. The park buzzed with anticipation. Both the alien students and their human hosts were eager to learn from one another and experience the joy of connection through shared activities. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the park. As families gathered with their pets, the students set up various stations, each designed to encourage interaction and foster understanding. Lyra welcomed families to her station, where she shared insights about pet behavior, encouraging them to engage with their animals in new ways. Meanwhile, Callan guided families through a simulation of predator and prey dynamics, using simple props to illustrate the balance of nature. They organized a game where participants had to navigate a course while avoiding predators, representing the challenges animals face in the wild. The laughter and excitement of the families filled the air, creating an atmosphere of joy and discovery. Tyra led a storytelling circle where they shared tales of their observations and the lessons learned from each encounter. She encouraged families to reflect on their own relationships with their pets and how understanding their instincts could lead to stronger bonds. As the circle formed, families listened intently, captivated by the students' experiences. As the event unfolded, it became clear that the students had succeeded in creating a bridge between their worlds. Humans and Zephyrians alike connected through a shared appreciation for life. The laughter, joy, and moments of learning solidified the bond between them as they celebrated the beauty of understanding. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the park, the students gathered together with their human hosts to reflect on the day. They shared stories of their favorite moments. Laughter echoed through the air as they reminisced about the connections made and the lessons learned. It was a perfect culmination of their journey, a testament to the power of empathy and the importance of understanding the creatures that share their world. Feeling a sense of fulfillment, the students knew that their time on Earth had transformed them in ways they had never imagined. They had come seeking knowledge, but had discovered something deeper, a sense of community and connection that transcended species and planets. As the final days of their exchange program approached, the alien students felt a bittersweet mix of excitement and sadness. They had formed deep connections with their human hosts and experienced a world rich in complexity and beauty. They gathered one last time in the park to reflect on their journey and what they would take back to Zephyra. Sitting in a circle under the sprawling branches of a mighty oak tree, the students shared their thoughts and emotions about their time on Earth. Lyra spoke first, her voice filled with warmth. She expressed gratitude for the experiences they had shared, the animals they had observed, and the lessons learned about compassion and connection. She emphasized that understanding another being went beyond mere observation. It required empathy and a willingness to see the world through their eyes. Callan nodded in agreement, adding that the lessons about survival had opened his eyes to the delicate balance of ecosystems. He remarked on how every creature played a vital role, and how humans demonstrated the ability to foster relationships with their pets that went beyond instinct. It was a choice driven by love and responsibility. He felt inspired to advocate for the animals back home on Saphira, believing that understanding would lead to better care and protection of all living beings. Tyra reflected on the interactions they had with their human hosts. She shared how the event they organized had created a space for learning and connection. She noted the laughter, the shared stories, and the joy of discovery that filled the park. It had been a beautiful reminder that despite their differences, they were all part of the same universe, navigating the complexities of life together. As the conversation flowed, the students took turns recounting their favorite moments. The day at the animal shelter, watching the rescue stories unfold, the awe of witnessing the wild hawk in action, and the joy of seeing families bond with their pets. All of these memories would stay with them forever. As they contemplated their return to Saphira, they knew they would carry these lessons into their lives back home. Feeling a sense of camaraderie, they decided to create a collaborative piece of art. To commemorate their experiences, they gathered materials from the park: sticks, leaves, and stones, crafting a mosaic that represented their journey together. The students worked side by side, laughing and sharing stories as they pieced together a vibrant display of colors and textures. As they completed the mosaic, they stepped back to admire their creation. It was a beautiful representation of their shared experiences, a testament to the bonds formed and the lessons learned. The students felt a surge of pride, knowing that their art would serve as a reminder of the time spent on Earth and the importance of understanding all living creatures. With the sun setting behind them, casting a warm golden light over the park, they knew their time was drawing to a close, but their hearts were filled with hope and anticipation. They promised to carry the spirit of their experiences back to Saphira, vowing to advocate for compassion, understanding, and the interconnectedness of all life. In the final moments of their gathering, Dr. Lang joined them, offering words of encouragement and gratitude for the lessons they had shared. She reminded them that while their exchange was coming to an end, the bonds formed would last a lifetime, and the understanding they had cultivated would continue to flourish within them. As they hugged their human hosts goodbye, the students felt a mix of sadness and joy. They had come to appreciate Earth and its creatures in ways they had never imagined, and as they boarded their spacecraft preparing for the journey home, they looked back at the park filled with laughter and love, knowing that they would forever cherish the memories made and the friendships formed during their incredible journey. As the spacecraft soared through the atmosphere, the alien students settled into their seats, reflecting on their remarkable journey. They gazed out of the large windows, watching the blue orb of Earth shrink into the distance. The memories of their time on the planet replayed in their minds like a beautiful film, each moment etched in their hearts forever. Lyra was the first to break the silence, her eyes shining with excitement. As she turned to her friends, she spoke about how they had witnessed both the tender and fierce sides of nature, how the animals they studied had taught them invaluable lessons about survival, love, and compassion. She felt a newfound appreciation for all living beings and the stories they carried within them. Callan chimed in, recalling the day they spent at the animal shelter. He shared how watching the transformations of the rescued animals had opened his eyes to the power of kindness. He expressed his determination to bring those lessons back to Saphira, advocating for animal rights and pushing for initiatives that would ensure the well-being of all creatures on their home planet. Tyra nodded enthusiastically, adding that the event they organized had shown her the importance of community and connection. She felt inspired to cultivate spaces where beings could come together, share experiences, and learn from one another. She imagined creating similar events on Saphira, where they could celebrate the bonds between creatures and their caretakers. As they continued to share their thoughts and ideas about how they could apply their newfound knowledge back home, a sense of purpose filled the cabin. They realized that their journey was not just about observing Earth's creatures, but about carrying the spirit of understanding, compassion, and connection back to their own world. Suddenly, The ship's navigation system chimed, indicating that they were approaching Zephyra. The excitement in the cabin grew as the students began to gather their belongings, each one filled with anticipation for what awaited them on their return home. They looked out of the windows, watching as their vibrant planet came into view, lush greenery and shimmering rivers sparkling in the sunlight. Upon landing, they were greeted by their families and friends who had gathered to welcome them back. The joy of reunion filled the air as the students stepped out of the spacecraft. They exchanged hugs and excited chatter with their loved ones, eager to share their experiences and newfound perspectives. The students were soon ushered into a community gathering where they would share the insights they had gained during their exchange program. They stood before a diverse crowd of Zephyrians, all eager to hear their stories. Lyra stepped forward, her heart racing, as she began to recount their journey, detailing the fascinating creatures they had encountered and the lessons learned about the delicate balance of life. As each student took their turn to share their experiences, the audience listened intently, captivated by their tales. The students spoke of the friendships formed with their human hosts and the powerful connections forged with the animals they observed. Their words resonated deeply as they conveyed the importance of empathy, understanding, and respect for all living beings. As the night progressed, the atmosphere was filled with excitement and camaraderie. They shared photos, videos, and even the mosaic they had created as a tribute to their journey. The colors and textures of the artwork sparked conversations and inspired others to reflect on their own relationships with the creatures of Zephyra. By the end of the evening, the students felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had not only returned with knowledge, but also a commitment to advocate for a world where all beings were understood and respected. Their journey had transformed them in ways they had never anticipated, and they knew that they would continue to carry the lessons of Earth within them as they worked to foster compassion and connection on their own planet. As they looked around at their community, the students felt a surge of hope and purpose, knowing that their adventure had just begun, and that together they could create a brighter future for all creatures, great and small.